Yes guys, welcome back to Education and Bass. I'm going to show you how I'm recording parts and whole tracks to cassette. So I've got a phono or RCA lead going from the output 3 and 4 on my Focusrite, which is the Focusrite Scarlett 2i4. So it has some jack outputs, but it also has some phono outputs for output 3 and 4. I've got a version of the track that is a pre-master that I've kind of made for recording to tape. And then I've got the mastered WAV as well, so we can see the difference between them. And then we can give them their own little mix down after as well and see what kind of sounds the best. So the output 3 and 4 on the Focusrite coming from the computer goes to the line in on this cassette deck, and the line out from the cassette deck goes to my Pioneer DJ mixer, where I can EQ it a little bit and give it some gain if necessary, and that goes back into the computer into input 1 and 2 on the Focusrite, and then I can record the result. So we've got a record level knob over here. This meter shows us the level we record at. This is the counter, which counts through as the tape goes on, and you can know where to rewind back to. So once I've recorded something, I know to wind back to 0. It's got a couple of different noise reductions. There's lots of debate around using noise reduction. The best seems to be dBx. I've also got what is supposed to be a very high quality chrome tape. This tape player detects which type of tape you're doing, and it's got the type 2 chrome light highlighted. The tape's in, we've got our record level. I'm gonna hit record and it's gonna arm it. It's now ready to record and can monitor the input. I'm going to start by playing the tape pre-master. So you can see I've got my levels right for the tape pre-master. I had to boost the volume knob a little bit, the record level knob. That is not the output volume, that is only the record level. So now if I, arm record, press play. And we are recording. Right, so I've recorded the whole track and I've stopped the tape. Now I'm at 29. If I whiz back to 0, I will be back in my intended position. Ableton's going to record the input 1 and 2 coming from the DJ mixer, and we will be recording directly off tape. Okay, I've recorded the pre-master to tape and recorded that back to Ableton. Now let's just make sure I'm at the end. Now I'll reset my counter back at 0 so I know where to rewind back to. And I'll now record my mastered WAV at a lower volume and see how that sounds. Dolby noise reduction still on, and we have to use that when we play back as well. And I'll record it into Ableton now. Yo, so here I've got the pre-master recorded to tape, and I've got the mastered WAV recorded to tape. This is the pre-mastered version. This is the mastered WAV. You can see some subtle differences, but you'll definitely hear the differences when you take a listen. So I'm going to skip most of the intro, and we'll start by listening to the pre-mastered track, the pre-mastered WAV. Sounds pretty good. Sounds like it's been recorded at a nice enough level and hasn't lost too much detail. What I have noticed is that recording to tape, you do lose some stereo detail. So let's see what I can do to give this a little mix down. Let's start with a EQ and a compressor, and I'm just going to take a look at the analyzer. So it's definitely still captured some detail in the treble. So I've switched it to mono and stereo mode, and I can see that there is some stereo detail there too. So I'm going to start by removing the low frequencies that are unwanted from the stereo portion of the sound. Okay, I'm back in mono mode. Let's take a listen to the bass. It definitely seems like the tape has warmed up my bass a little bit. Subtle, but there, I think. Seems to have just made the bass sound very well rounded. Give those mid frequencies a little boost. Let's take a listen to the super high frequencies. So it seems like the tape does roll the high frequencies off at around 10 to 12k. So I don't think it's necessary to take any high end out of the mono signal. Okay, let's listen with and without my EQ. Right, let's move on to this compressor. I'm actually going to turn this automatic makeup gain off, so not to add any volume while I determine the threshold. Just some light nice high attack, so all the sounds can do their thing naturally. Okay, so I've maintained that nice level, got my EQ and my compressor there. I've got this PSB vintage warmer, turn a few knobs and see what we can do to this track. Okay, so that's a nice little mix of my tape pre-master. I like how that sounds, very healthy levels, nothing too loud. So now let's take a look at the mastered WAV recorded to tape and see what we can do. It looks like we lost the left or right channel at some point. So first off, I can definitely hear that this one is quite driven. I will turn the levels down a little bit. So I can hear that the treble is a lot sharper on this one. Okay, it doesn't sound like I need to do much to this. Quite driven, quite loud as it is. I'm going to put this camel fat on it and see how this sounds. So with the camel fat, I took some of the high end out, turned the resonance down, gives it a bit of crunch. So now I'm going to compare the two and you can listen. So there you go, the two different versions, recorded to tape, recorded back into Ableton, and given a simple mix down. It's hard to tell which one sounds best. I think recording at lower levels is definitely a better idea when going to tape. And after a lot of experimenting, I actually think it's better to just record parts like chords and samples and instrumentation or drum lines to use in tracks, as opposed to recording whole tracks. Doesn't mean you can't get a cool result with whole tracks, but I'm definitely going to be doing more recording single elements and placing them in tracks for texture and so on, rather than whole tunes in the future. Maybe it's just too much hassle. So cheers for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to our Education and Bass subscribers group on Facebook. All of us tutors are in there answering questions and discussing things all the time. So thanks for watching and peace out.